Hi, I'm Jill Foster and welcome to your next PB&J card class. Today we'll be using stamps and ink to create a scene. And here's a look at the stamps we'll be using today. And a peek at the card we'll be creating. To begin, I'm taking a piece of white cardstock, and then these are just Post-it notes, and I'm tearing them on the sticky side so that tore edge will be stick down firmly. I'm going to begin with Distress ink, and this is in the color of Forest Moss. And I'm just inking up to the edge of the Post-it note. So you'll see throughout the video that I'll be moving around those Post-it notes to create different scenes. Now I'm going to use that same Post-it note. I'm going to turn it the other way and mask off sort of a section. It could be a river or it could be like a little walking path or a road. So I'm leaving that white in between the two, taking another Post-it and sticking it down. Then I also want to be sure to mask off here at the top where I'm going to be doing some hills or mountains in the background. So again, I'm just tearing these along the sticky edge and placing them down. And then I'm going to go in here with peeled paint, so I wanted to start just a little bit lighter. And I'm just carefully inking inside of the area that's open and not going over into the area that's masked. And then to darken this up, I'm going to add Forest Moss right on top. And for all of the application here, I'm using the foam ink blending tool and the foam applicator pad. So you can see when you peel that up, you've kind of got that road or river, whatever you want it to be, going across the bottom. So I'm just getting another mask ready here by tearing. And here I'm going to mask sort of another little hill or mountain coming down. So I'm just laying those down. Then I also want to cover up this green area, so I want to mask that again, and I'm just reusing another Post-it and lining it up along the edge. Now I want this to be sort of on the yellow-orange color range, so I'm starting with Scattered Straw down in this corner. Then I'll be using Spiced Marmalade. Then some Wild Honey. And then also some Fired Brick. And then I wanted that Scattered Straw just to show a little bit more, so I'm just taking the ink pad and directly rubbing that onto the paper. So now I'm ready to pull this up. And if you have areas that didn't match up perfectly between the green and the orange, that's no problem. I'll show you how we'll fix that when we move on. So now I just want to mask off another area. And we're going to do this in green. So I'm starting with peeled paint. And then I want to darken it up so I can cover up the green and that orange that's showing beneath. So now I'll go over the top with Forest Moss. Now when I peel this up, you will see it creates kind of a point right there towards the center, and that's okay because I'm going to be covering that up with the sentiment. Now I wanted to just add a little bit different shade of green, so I'm using Evergreen Bough. right along that edge. And it's okay to pull it down into that darker green. I didn't need to mask that off because this is a lighter color. And then I'm going to also use this lighter green to color in those white areas between the orange and the green. And then I wanted to add a touch of that evergreen bough along the bottom. So I'm just pressing onto the Post-it note and sort of flicking that ink upwards towards the darker green. Now we're ready to sort of fill in. I saw this as like a little pathway, a little walkway, but you could also see it as a river. You could do blues in there. It's just kind of whatever you like as you're working. But I used pumice stone. And then for the sky, I'm going to use tumbled glass, and I'm just going to start off the edge and pull it down. And then also stormy sky. Now I've just masked off that green, or I masked off the pumice stone, the gray area beneath. And now I want to do some stamping. So I'm inking this penny black stamp, and I'm using Memento ink, and that is in the color of Olive Grove. And I'm just stamping it along that green edge. And you can see I'm only really using the top portion of the stamp, but that's fine because I've masked off the bottom with Post-it notes. And the possibilities are really endless here. You could go in with a fern. You could do flowers along that edge. It's fun to change it up. And then I'm going to do the same thing along here on the bottom. So masking it off and then inking with that same color and just adding some stamping. Now I'm ready to add the tree. So this is Penny Black Bear Tree, which I'm inking with Onyx Black ink. And I'm just going to stamp this over here along the left-hand side. And then I want to add just a little bit more. I'm going to move it down a little bit and stamp on the right-hand side. So not as tall, but just filling in that bottom portion. And then a touch here in this corner. Now I want to distress this. I want it to have a real rugged feel, so I'm using the edge distressing tool and rubbing that along the edges of the piece. I went around all 4 edges. Now I want to add brush corduroy, so I'm starting off the edge and working my way on. I'm going to apply that sort of heavy along that orange portion, but around the rest of it I won't go in as far as I did along that orange edge. And then also because I want to roll that corner a little bit, I'm inking the back, so when I roll that down, it has a nice distressed look to it. Now I decided that since it's springtime, we would add some leaves to the tree. And I like the leaves on this rose, so I'm going to ink just the leaves on this clear stamp, and I'm using VersaFine Olympia Green. And I'm just going to stamp those onto that bare tree. And you can see there I'm just inking just the leaves and then randomly placing those onto the tree. This would be fun to do in the fall as well. You could do all different colors of leaves on that tree. You could even go in and put some flowers on there. And you can see there, if I get a little bit of that green ink on the rose, I just wipe it clean with my finger. And there you have your scene. I added this to embossed cardstock and a Spellbinders die cut and added a sentiment. Thanks for watching. For details and more information, visit the Penny Black website, www.pennyblackink.com. And here's a list of all supplies used. See you next Monday.